Emma Carter's mornings were always the same. A cup of coffee before sunrise, her worn notebook filled with budgeting scribbles, and the familiar clatter of dishes at Willow's Cafe. Nestled in the heart of downtown Boston, the cafe was her sanctuary and her battlefield, a place where she worked tirelessly to make ends meet. The shift began as usual, with regulars shuffling in for their morning coffee. Emma moved with practiced efficiency, her warm smile a comforting presence to those who frequented the cafe. She greeted Mr. Harold, who always ordered black coffee with 2 sugars, and nodded at Mrs. Green, who liked her croissant warmed but not too hot. It was halfway through her shift when the front door's bell chimed, drawing Emma's attention to an unfamiliar face. A tall man, in a tailored navy suit, stepped inside, his presence commanding yet understated. Emma's heart skipped a beat as recognition dawned. Logan Bennett, the billionaire philanthropist who dominated headlines with his charity initiatives and sharp business acumen. Logan's normally confident aura seemed subdued. His shoulders sagged slightly, and there was a weariness in his eyes that no amount of money could hide. He glanced around the cafe, seemingly searching for a quiet corner away from prying eyes. Emma approached him calmly, refusing to let her excitement show. "Good morning, sir. Would you like to sit here by the window, or maybe something more private in the back?" He looked at her, surprised by her composure. "The back would be perfect, thank you." Guiding him to a cozy booth tucked away from the main floor, Emma handed him a menu. "Take your time," she said softly, her smile reassuring. As Logan settled in, Emma noted how he exuded a need for solitude. Unlike the other customers, who often sought attention or recognition, Logan seemed to crave anonymity. When she brought him his order, a black coffee and a blueberry scone, he thanked her quietly, offering a small, genuine smile. Despite her curiosity about what had brought someone like him to her humble cafe, Emma treated him like any other customer. It wasn't her place to pry, and she suspected that her quiet kindness was what Logan appreciated most. The peace didn't last long. Whispers started to ripple through the cafe as customers began to recognize Logan. A group of young professionals in the corner exchanged excited glances, their phones already out. The barista behind the counter, Sarah, kept sneaking glances, her attempts at subtlety failing miserably. "Is that Logan Bennett?" one customer murmured loudly enough for others to hear. Soon, the atmosphere shifted, the low hum of conversation replaced by a buzz of anticipation. Emma's instincts kicked in. She knew how disruptive this could become for Logan, who was clearly here to escape the limelight. As a man approached Logan's table, phone in hand, Emma intercepted him with a polite yet firm smile. "I'm sorry, but Mr. Bennett is here to enjoy his coffee in peace," she said. "Please respect his privacy." The man frowned but backed off, grumbling under his breath. Emma returned to the counter, only to find Sarah gawking at Logan while snapping a photo. "Sarah," Emma said quietly but sternly, "delete that picture. This isn't the kind of place where we invade our customers' privacy." Sarah hesitated, but eventually complied, muttering something about wasted opportunities. Emma turned her attention back to the floor, ensuring no one else approached Logan. Her actions didn't go unnoticed. Logan glanced up from his laptop, his expression softening as he watched Emma handle the situation with poise. For the first time that morning, he looked at ease. However, not everyone shared Emma's perspective. Greg, the cafe's manager, stormed out of the back office, his face a mask of frustration. "Emma," he snapped, "what do you think you're doing? That man is Logan Bennett. Do you know how much publicity we could get from this?" Emma kept her tone steady. "I know who he is, Greg, but he came here for peace and quiet, not a media circus." "Peace and quiet?" Greg scoffed. "Do you realize how much attention we'd get if he posted about us? Get someone to take his picture or write something about the cafe." Emma shook her head. "That's not right, Greg. He's a customer, just like anyone else. We need to respect his privacy." Her defiance infuriated Greg. "You're going to regret this," he hissed, before storming back into the office. As the day wore on, Emma continued to shield Logan from unwanted attention, earning his silent gratitude. She didn't know it yet, but her unwavering integrity would soon change her life forever. The morning rush was winding down, but the tension in Willow's cafe had reached a boiling point. Emma could feel Greg's eyes burning into her back as she served the last of the lingering customers. He was clearly still fuming over her refusal to capitalize on Logan Bennett's presence. In the corner booth, Logan remained focused on his laptop, occasionally sipping his coffee. Though he appeared calm, Emma noticed how he subtly glanced around the room, perhaps wary of the attention that had already been drawn to him. "Emma!" Greg's sharp voice cut through the cafe, making her flinch. "Come here. Now." Taking a deep breath, Emma wiped her hands on her apron and approached the counter where Greg stood, his arms crossed and his expression stormy. "Yes, Greg?" she asked, keeping her tone professional despite the knot tightening in her stomach. "Explain to me why you think it's your job to turn away opportunities for this cafe," he demanded, his voice loud enough for the remaining customers and Logan to hear. "We have a celebrity here, Emma, a billionaire. Do you have any idea what that kind of exposure could do for us?" Emma glanced around, embarrassed by the scene Greg was causing. "Greg, I understand, but Logan Bennett came here for privacy. He didn't ask to be photographed or bothered. It's our job to respect that." "Our job," Greg sneered, "is to keep this business running. If you can't see that, maybe you're in the wrong place." The cafe fell silent as Greg's voice grew louder, his anger spilling over. Emma felt her face flush, but she stood her ground. "I've been here for 5 years, Greg. I've always put the customers first, and I'm doing the same now. I'm sorry if you don't agree, but I won't compromise someone's peace for a bit of attention." Greg's eyes narrowed. 5 years or not, I can't have an employee who undermines me. If you're so determined to go against my orders, then you're fired. Effective immediately. The words hit Emma like a punch to the gut. Fired? She stared at Greg in disbelief, her mind racing. She had never been reprimanded before, let alone fired. For a moment, she couldn't move, couldn't speak. Finally, she nodded, swallowing her pride. "If that's how you feel, Greg, I'll collect my things." As Emma walked to the back to gather her belongings, her hands trembled. The reality of losing her job, her only source of income, weighed heavily on her. But she knew she couldn't have done anything differently. Compromising her values wasn't an option. At the booth, Logan had stopped typing. He had witnessed the entire exchange, his sharp eyes narrowing at Greg's outburst. He watched as Emma disappeared into the back, her shoulders hunched but her resolve intact. Emma emerged from the staff room a few minutes later, carrying a small box of her belongings. Her apron was folded neatly on top, a symbol of the job she had poured her heart into for so many years. She paused for a moment, taking in the cafe that had been her second home. As she moved toward the door, Logan stood up. "Excuse me," he called, his deep voice cutting through the tense silence. Emma turned to face him, surprised to see him standing with such purpose. Logan walked over, his expression unreadable but his gaze steady. "I couldn't help but overhear," he said, his voice low but firm. "And I want to say that I admire the way you handled yourself back there." Emma blinked, unsure of how to respond. "Thank you, Mr. Bennett. I just tried to do what I thought was right." "And you did," Logan replied. "In fact, you've done something many people wouldn't have the courage to do, stand up for what's right, even at great personal cost." Greg, who had been lingering behind the counter, scoffed loudly. "She lost her job because she refused to listen. I wouldn't call that admirable." Logan turned to Greg, his expression sharp. "You're wrong. What I saw was a professional who values integrity over convenience, respect over exploitation. Those are qualities I look for in my team." Greg paled, realizing too late that he was no longer in control of the situation. Logan shifted his attention back to Emma. "If you're willing, I'd like to offer you a position at Bennett Global. We need people like you, people with integrity and professionalism. It won't be a waitress job. It'll be a role where your principles and work ethic will truly shine." Emma's jaw dropped. I don't know what to say," she stammered. "Say yes," Logan said with a small smile. "I'll have my assistant reach out with the details, but consider this an official offer." Overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, Emma nodded. "Yes, thank you, Mr. Bennett. I won't let you down." "I'm sure you won't," Logan replied. He handed her his business card. "Call me if you have any questions. And Emma, welcome to the team." As Logan left the cafe, Emma stood rooted in place, her mind racing. The morning had started like any other, but now her life was on the brink of transformation. She clutched the card tightly, her heart pounding with a mix of disbelief and cautious hope. The next morning, Emma woke up to the sound of her phone buzzing incessantly on her bedside table. Still groggy, she squinted at the screen, only to see dozens of notifications lighting it up. Messages from friends, missed calls, and social media alerts overwhelmed her device. Confused, she unlocked her phone and opened one of the messages. Emma, you're trending everywhere. Did you really get hired by Logan Bennett? Trending? Emma frowned, her heart pounding as she opened her social media apps. The first thing she saw was a tweet from Logan Bennett himself, accompanied by a photo of her standing at the cafe, clutching her belongings. Integrity is the foundation of greatness. Yesterday, I met someone who reminded me of that. Welcome to the team, Emma Carter. The world could use more people like you. The post had gone viral. Thousands of likes, retweets, and comments flooded the thread. People praised Emma for her courage and integrity, with many sharing their own stories of standing up for their principles. Emma's hands trembled as she scrolled through the messages. Words of encouragement poured in from strangers, former customers, and even past coworkers. Her closest friend, Rachel, called to congratulate her, her excitement palpable over the phone. Emma, this is incredible, Rachel gushed. Logan Bennett himself recognized you. This could change your whole life. Emma could barely process it. The whirlwind of events from the previous day felt surreal, and now the world seemed to be watching her every move. She spent the morning responding to messages, each one reminding her of the impact her actions had made. By noon, an email arrived from Logan Bennett's assistant detailing the offer. Emma would start as a junior associate at Bennett Global with a generous salary, benefits, and training opportunities. The role promised growth, responsibility, and a chance to work directly on Logan's philanthropic initiatives. As Emma read through the offer, tears welled in her eyes. It wasn't just a new job, it was a new beginning. She accepted the offer without hesitation, her heart brimming with gratitude and determination. While Emma's story captured hearts across the internet, Willow's Cafe was caught in the storm of public backlash. The cafe's social media pages were inundated with negative reviews and comments condemning Kevin's behavior. I used to love this place, but after hearing how they treated Emma Carter, I won't be back, one review read. Disrespecting your employees for doing the right thing? Shameful, wrote another. Customers began canceling their orders and boycotting the cafe. The once busy establishment now sat nearly empty during peak hours. Even the regulars, who had always been the backbone of the cafe's business, stopped showing up. Kevin tried to salvage the situation, posting a public apology online. However, his message, filled with corporate jargon and insincerity, only made things worse. We at Willow's Cafe regret the recent incident involving one of our former employees. We value all our staff and customers and strive to provide a welcoming environment for everyone. The backlash was swift and merciless. People accused Kevin of only apologizing because the cafe was losing money. Emma's supporters rallied against him, sharing their disdain for businesses that prioritized profits over people. Inside the cafe, Kevin's frustration grew. He paced the floor, glaring at the empty tables and blaming everyone but himself. His staff, tired of his temper and mismanagement, began quitting one by one. Meanwhile, Emma couldn't help but hear about Kevin's struggles. Friends and former coworkers updated her on the cafe's declining reputation. Surprisingly, she felt no satisfaction in his downfall. Instead, she hoped the situation would teach him a lesson about the importance of treating employees with respect. Late one evening, Emma wrote in her journal, reflecting on everything that had happened. Integrity might cost you in the short term, but it will always reward you in the long run, she wrote. She closed her notebook with a sense of peace, ready to embrace her new journey and leave the past behind. Emma wasn't looking back. Her future was calling, and she was determined to answer. Emma arrived at Bennett Global's headquarters early Monday morning, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and nerves. The towering glass building stood like a beacon in the heart of downtown, its sleek design reflecting the city skyline. Emma paused at the entrance, clutching her folder of onboarding documents, and took a deep breath. As she stepped through the revolving doors, the atmosphere inside was unlike anything she had experienced. The marble floors gleamed under bright, modern lighting, and the air buzzed with purpose. Employees in sharp suits and confident strides moved through the lobby, greeting one another with polite nods. A receptionist greeted Emma warmly, her smile genuine. "You must be Emma Carter. Welcome to Bennett Global. Mr. Bennett has arranged for someone to escort you upstairs. Please have a seat, and I'll notify them." Emma's stomach fluttered. Even now, it felt surreal to think she had been personally hired by Logan Bennett. Within minutes, a young woman named Claire appeared, introducing herself as one of Logan's executive assistants. "Welcome, Emma," Claire said, her tone encouraging. "Let me show you to your office and get you settled in." Emma followed Claire to the elevator, listening attentively as she explained the layout of the building. When they reached the 18th floor, Emma stepped out into a bright, open space filled with glass-walled offices and collaborative work areas. "This is your office," Claire said, opening a door to reveal a spacious, modern workspace. The desk was sleek, the chair ergonomic, and the view breathtaking, a panoramic sweep of the city skyline. Emma stared in awe. Her new office was larger than her entire apartment. On the desk, she noticed a handwritten note on Bennett Global stationery. "Emma, welcome to the team. Your courage and integrity brought you here, and I have no doubt you'll do great things. Thank you for reminding me of what truly matters. Let's make a difference together. Logan Bennett." Emma clutched the note, her throat tightening. This wasn't just a job. It was a chance to be part of something meaningful. After completing her orientation and meeting a few colleagues, Emma settled into her role. Though the responsibilities felt daunting at first, she quickly found her footing. Her years of hard work and resourcefulness as a waitress served her well in adapting to the demands of a corporate environment. As the day ended, Emma stood by the window of her office, gazing at the city below. She thought of her late father, who had always told her that character was the most important thing a person could possess. She felt his presence with her, a reminder of how far she had come. In the weeks that followed, Emma began to settle into her role at Bennett Global. Her work primarily focused on coordinating with Logan's philanthropic initiatives, many of which aimed to provide opportunities for underprivileged communities. One afternoon, as she scrolled through her social media feed during lunch, Emma came across a story about a waitress who had been unfairly dismissed from her job. The story struck a chord, reminding her of her own experience at Willow's Café. Feeling inspired, Emma opened her own social media account and began typing. Service workers are often the backbone of our society, yet so many face mistreatment and lack of recognition. I've been there. I know what it's like to feel invisible, to stand up for what's right and face consequences. But integrity matters. Stay true to yourselves and don't lose hope. Better opportunities are out there. She hesitated before hitting post, unsure of how people would respond. But within hours, her message began gaining traction. Replies flooded in, some from fellow service workers sharing their struggles, others expressing admiration for her journey. Logan saw the post and called Emma into his office the next day. "Emma, I saw what you wrote," he said, leaning back in his chair. "It was powerful. You've struck a chord with people who often go unheard. I think you can do even more with this." "What do you mean?" Emma asked, intrigued. "I want you to lead a new initiative focused on supporting service workers," Logan explained. "Scholarships, training programs, mental health support, whatever it takes to make a real impact. You've lived this experience, Emma. You understand it better than anyone." Emma's heart raced. The opportunity was immense, but so was the responsibility. "I don't know if I'm ready for something like that," she admitted. "You are," Logan said firmly. "You've already inspired thousands. Imagine what you could do with the right resources." Emma nodded, determination building within her. "Okay, let's do it." As she left Logan's office, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. Her voice was no longer just her own. It was a voice for countless others who deserved better. She was ready to fight for them, to prove that small acts of courage could lead to monumental change. Weeks turned into months, and Emma became an integral part of Bennett Global. Under Logan's guidance, she spearheaded a new initiative called Elevate, a program designed to support service workers with scholarships, job training, and advocacy resources. Her passion and authenticity made the initiative a success, and soon, Emma found herself giving speeches at conferences and community events, sharing her journey and encouraging others to pursue their dreams. Despite her growing responsibilities and public profile, Emma remained grounded. She often thought about how far she had come since her days at Willow's Café. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, she decided to take a walk through her old neighborhood. As she passed by Willow's Café, the sight of the nearly deserted establishment stopped her in her tracks. The once bustling cafe was now eerily quiet, with only a few customers scattered among the tables. A "for lease" sign hung in the window, a testament to the cafe's decline since the public backlash. Emma's thoughts turned to Kevin. She wondered if he had learned from the experience or if he still blamed others for his misfortunes. Though she felt no anger toward him, she couldn't help but hope that the ordeal had given him a new perspective on treating people with dignity. Her reflections were interrupted by a voice calling her name. Turning, she saw Rachel hurrying toward her, a smile on her face. "Emma, I've been meaning to catch up with you," Rachel said. The two friends walked together, reminiscing about their time at the cafe and marveling at how much had changed. Emma shared stories about her work at Bennett Global, and Rachel listened with pride, reminding Emma of how much she had inspired others, herself included. "You didn't just change your life, Emma," Rachel said. "You've changed the lives of so many people, and you've shown all of us what's possible when we stand up for what's right." That night, Emma returned home feeling a profound sense of gratitude. She realized that every challenge she had faced, every difficult decision she had made, had led her to this moment. The struggles had shaped her, but they didn't define her. Her determination and integrity had done that. Emma's first major executive meeting at Bennett Global was nothing short of transformative. As she entered the conference room, she was greeted by Logan and a team of senior executives. The meeting agenda revolved around Elevate, and Logan had invited Emma to present the program's progress and outline its next steps. Standing at the head of the table, Emma felt a flicker of nerves but quickly steadied herself. She spoke with conviction, detailing the initiative's impact on communities and sharing testimonials from service workers whose lives had been changed. The room fell silent as the executives listened intently, many nodding in agreement. When she finished, Logan smiled. "That was outstanding, Emma," he said. "You've exceeded every expectation. This initiative is going to change the world, and it's all because of your leadership." Emma felt a rush of pride. The once overwhelmed waitress, who had doubted her abilities, now stood as a confident executive, ready to tackle any challenge. As the meeting ended, Logan pulled Emma aside. "There's one more thing," he said, handing her a folder. Inside was a proposal to expand Elevate internationally. Logan wanted Emma to oversee the effort, traveling to new regions and working directly with communities. It was an opportunity to make an even greater impact, and though the prospect was daunting, Emma knew she was ready. "Thank you for believing in me," she said. Logan smiled. "You've earned it, Emma, and I have no doubt you'll continue to inspire us all." As Emma walked out of the conference room, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Her journey had been anything but easy, but every moment, good and bad, had brought her to this point. She thought about her father's words once more. Character is what defines you. Emma knew that her story wasn't just about her success. It was about the power of doing the right thing, even when it was difficult. And as she stepped into the next chapter of her life, she carried that lesson with her, determined to make the world a better place, one act of integrity at a time. Emma's life had transformed in ways she could never have imagined. From the quiet, determined waitress who stood up for a stranger's privacy to the confident leader now making waves on a global scale, her journey was a testament to the power of integrity and resilience. She had learned that every small decision, every moment of courage, could ripple outward and create change far beyond what one might expect. By staying true to her values, Emma had not only redefined her own life, but had also inspired countless others to do the same. As she stood by her office window, overlooking the city that had once felt so vast and unattainable, Emma smiled. She knew there were still challenges ahead and lessons to learn, but she also knew she was ready to face them. Her story was proof that even in the most ordinary moments, extraordinary opportunities could emerge. And when they did, it was character, not circumstance, that defined the outcome. With gratitude in her heart and a vision for a brighter future, Emma embraced her new life, knowing it was just the beginning of a much greater journey. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Emma's inspiring journey. Her story reminds us all of the power of courage, integrity, and the impact of standing up for what's right. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming and motivational stories like this one. Your support means the world to us and helps us create even more amazing content. Also, feel free to share this story with friends and family. Who knows? It might inspire someone else to take a step toward their dreams. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stay tuned for more stories that touch the heart and uplift the spirit.